It is officially Money in the Bank season. And given that Money in the Bank is really the first big PLE that WWE has after WrestleMania, there is a lot of anticipation going towards it. Because with it being such a big show, and with it being after WrestleMania, it feels like we're going to enter a new chapter of the WWE stories. And I'm sure you know the drill by now. If you have seen my videos, you know that we do a PLE preview for all the WWE PLEs, and that is what this video is here. And if you have not seen one of these videos before, it's really simple. We go through the match cards, I give my thoughts and opinions on who I think is going to win, who I think is going to lose, and where the stories could go from there. And before we get too far ahead in the video, I want to say that if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel, because that's all we post is WWE related content. So if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing. It's free, you can always change your mind later. Now, looking at the match card for Money in the Bank 2025, it's kind of odd that there's only 4 matches on the card. Again, given the fact that Money in the Bank is one of WWE's biggest and most popular PLEs on their schedule. Now, it's pure speculation on my part. Maybe it has something to do with Worlds Collide being early in the day, and that kind of goes back to the last video that I posted about there being so much wrestling in such a short amount of time. So I'm kind of curious to see how the crowd's going to be after Worlds Collide, moving into Money in the Bank. I'm curious to know what the numbers are going to be just from straight viewership, because one thing that I had mentioned in my last video was the sheer fact that wrestling can be tiring to watch. And especially with Worlds Collide being kind of an unknown show, we really don't know what we're going to get from the show because we've not really seen a Worlds Collide before. So we don't know what to expect from the show. We don't know if it's going to be insanely crazy. We don't know if it's going to be slightly calm. Then you move on to Money in the Bank, where you have 2 ladder matches, which is very, very tiring to watch. So I'm curious to see how the feeling is going to be around Money in the Bank when it's time to go. So that's kind of my little rant before we get into the match card. And speaking of the match card, we're going to get right to it. And we're going to start with the tag team match between John Cena and Logan Paul taking on the team of Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Now, I gotta be completely honest here. I really could care less about this match. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a bad match. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a boring match. But it just feels like the build has not been there for this match. And it really just feels like it was a kind of a panic move from WWE to just get some of the biggest names in the company on the show. So the build itself, while I guess it hasn't been the absolute worst, it hasn't been good either, in my opinion. With us really only getting one segment between the 4 of them, and seeing Jey Uso in different storylines with a much better build than what this is, I would have rather have seen the match that we got on Monday Night Raw, which saw Braun Breaker Bronson Reed taking on Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. I felt like that match really could have been put on this card instead of this match that we're getting. But there's a reason why I sit here and make videos about the WWE, and I'm not creating the match card themselves. So, about this match, again, I'm not really super interested in it. The build hasn't been great. As for who I think wins, I think it's going to be Cody and Jay pulling out the win. I just don't really see WWE having those 2 guys lose, given the fact that it's Cody Rhodes' first match since WrestleMania, given the fact that Jey Uso is still very, very popular. So I think it's going to be the good guys standing tall, and I think Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes are going to defeat John Cena and Logan Paul at Money in the Bank. From one build that hasn't really done anything for me to a feud and a match that I am so damn excited about, and that is Lyra Valkyria taking on Becky Lynch for the Women's IC title. The chemistry between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria is so damn good. In my opinion, it's really starting to feel like their chemistry is slowly getting to the point where Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins' chemistry is. That is how damn good this feud has been, and it's all due to their chemistry. Lyra Valkyria is looking like $1,000,000, and Becky Lynch is allowing her to look this good. You can just tell that Becky is not trying to bury her like what we saw with Charlotte and Tiffany. And given how good their match really was at Backlash, I think we could get something very similar with this match. Because you know that they are going to try to up the ante and make it an even better match than what they had at Backlash. And that's going to be hard to do because that Backlash match was fantastic. So, as for who wins, I think it's going to be Lyra. And I don't necessarily think that this feud is going to end after this match. I really get the sense that they're going to try to do something big between these two. Whether it happens at Evolution 2, whether it happens at SummerSlam, I just get the feeling that they want to do more with them because the feud has been so good, and again, the chemistry is just so damn good. So it kind of feels similar in a way to what we got between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk last year, where we get 3 matches, but this feud isn't going to last all summer and be spread out. So I hope that this feud continues because it's been really, really good. And their matches have been simply fantastic together. And their first match was so damn good, who knows what we're going to be in store for this one. So again, I have Lyra Valkyria winning and retaining over Becky Lynch, and maybe we get more, maybe we don't. That takes us to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match where we have Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, Julia, and Stephanie Valkyr. And taking a look at the entire lineup, you have 2 very, very new superstars in Julia and Stephanie Valkyr. And unfortunately, I'm going to eliminate those 2 from winning right off the bat because I just don't really see WWE giving them the Money in the Bank right off the bat like that. And look, I am a super, super big fan of both Julia and Stephanie, but I think that they could do something more than get the Money in the Bank briefcase. I think Julia is going to start going after Zelina Vega and the Women's United States Championship. And it would not surprise me at all if Julia ended up winning that Women's United States Championship and they started to build that division around her. Now, as for Stephanie Valkyr, we really don't know where she's going to go from here. But I just have such a hard time seeing them give it to her right after she gets called up to the main roster. And someone else who's very, very young, but in a much different storyline right now, is Roxanne Perez. And I think it actually would make more sense for Roxanne Perez to win this year's Money in the Bank as opposed to Julia or Stephanie Valkyr because of Roxanne Perez's story with Judgment Day, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and all that. So I think that they could do something really, really interesting with Roxanne Perez and tying the Money in the Bank briefcase into that storyline. But unfortunately, I just see her coming up a little bit short. And that leaves Alexa Bliss. And if you know anything about me, you know that I am a massive Alexa Bliss fan. She is by far my favorite women's superstar in the WWE of all time. And while I would love to see her win the Money in the Bank briefcase this year, while I don't think the possibility is zero, I just don't really think it would make a whole lot of sense. Because she's really not in any major stories moving forward right now. And you tack on the fact that we have seen Alexa Bliss win the briefcase before. So if she does win it, then you run the risk of people maybe not being as interested because we've seen it before. And that leaves the 2 favorites that I have, and that is Naomi and Rhea Ripley. Now, you can make a strong case for both Naomi and Rhea Ripley, and for me personally, it's so damn close, it's basically a coin toss at this point. Because you could do so much with both Rhea and Naomi. This heel Naomi that we are getting right now is so damn good and so entertaining. And I would be really curious to see what the briefcase's involvement in the whole Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi storyline. I really wonder what that could look like. Maybe that could be Naomi's way of moving past that feud. Ultimately, I think my pick is going to be Rhea Ripley. And while that may not be the most popular answer, and while I don't necessarily want to see Rhea win, I think it's an easy choice because she is just so damn popular. I'm not a super big fan of Rhea Ripley winning it this year because we've seen her very, very recently just kind of weasel her way into a match, making it a triple threat. It doesn't really feel like she needs the briefcase. While you take a look at Naomi, I think Naomi while she doesn't necessarily need the briefcase, I think she could use it a lot more than what Rhea Ripley would. So again, I'm not a big fan of it, but I think WWE is going to go with the super safe route, and they're going to pick Rhea Ripley to win this year's Women's Money in the Bank. So that takes us to the Men's Money in the Bank ladder match, where we have Solo Sikoa, Penta, El Grande Americano, Seth Rollins, Andrade, and LA Knight. And we're going to start off by talking about the people that I don't see winning it at all, and that being one Andrade, because Andrade being in this match just feels so out of place. While I am glad to see Andrade getting a big opportunity like this again, he just feels like such an outlier compared to everyone else. Now, I could see Penta being a fairly entertaining Money in the Bank briefcase holder, but I think WWE has different plans for Penta. I think before we get anything bigger with Penta, I think we're gonna have to get reunited between Penta and Rey Fenix. That's at least what it feels like to me. They're holding off for that reunion right there. So I think you can eliminate Penta. I think you can eliminate Andrade right off the bat. As entertaining as El Grande Americano would be to win, I don't see it happening. I think El Grande Americano has other, better things to do than the Money in the Bank briefcase right now. And while he very well could steal the entire show, given how good El Grande Americano is, I just don't really see it happening. That takes us to Solo Sikoa, and Solo Sikoa I don't really see winning because he is still tied up in the whole Jacob Fatu kind of feud is thing that we're getting. It's pretty obvious that we're going to be getting Solo and Jacob Fatu at some point down the line, so I don't see him winning the briefcase because of that reason. And that leaves us with my two favorites for this match, LA Knight and Seth Rollins. And let me start by saying this. I want to see LA Knight win. My heart tells me that I want LA Knight to win. Because LA Knight has been in this position for the past couple years now, and he's been the favorite to win it, and he hasn't. So I really want this to be the year that LA Knight finally breaks through and gets the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I almost picked him as my official pick, and then I started thinking more and more about the possibility of Seth Rollins winning. And what could that look like if Seth Rollins was to win the briefcase this year? And then I started thinking more. Seth Rollins talking about how he wants to get the World Heavyweight Championship back. And it just so happens that on the following Monday Night Raw, we've got a championship match between Gunther and Jey Uso for that same World Heavyweight Championship. And I said it from the very beginning. That match, when it was announced that it was going to be on Monday Night Raw, just screamed that there was going to be shenanigans involved. And I think the shenanigans is going to be Seth Rollins cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now let me start by saying this. I hope I'm dead wrong. I hope that we get absolutely nothing to do with what I just said. But once I started putting all the pieces together, I think that's what they're going to do. And why I hate that is because we got the Money in the Bank briefcase wasted last year when they had Drew McIntyre win and immediately burn it that night on a failed cash-in because of CM Punk. I hated that. It still makes me mad that that's what happened last year. And if Seth Rollins was going to win, I want it to happen in a way that would elevate Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Whether that be helping Seth Rollins win the briefcase, whether that be helping Seth Rollins win the World Heavyweight Championship back, I want it to be done in a way that is going to elevate those two. And if WWE is serious about pushing Seth Rollins as a heel, a lot of people still want to sing his song. And what's the best way to get someone hated in the WWE? It's to beat a fan favorite for the briefcase in LA Knight, and it's to beat a fan favorite for the World Heavyweight Championship in Jey Uso. So again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope what I just said does not happen. I hope it's going to be LA Knight, but I ultimately think it's going to be Seth Rollins winning this year's Money in the Bank. So to wrap up this PLE preview, I'm going to keep things kind of short because we're running really long. What are your guys' thoughts on this year's Money in the Bank? Are you a fan of it being only 4 matches, or do you want to wait until we actually see the entire show? And also, let me know what you think about my predictions, and I want to hear what your guys' predictions are for the show. I want to hear who you think is going to win, who you think is going to lose, and why you think that. So, as always, let me know that stuff down below in the comments. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. It is the only link in bio for a reason, and that is because it'll take you to all of the social medias for this channel. And I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And above all else, I want the X page to be a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling. Especially if you're like me and you don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a group of wrestling fans to talk about wrestling with, swing by an upcoming episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Maybe swing by Saturday when we are going to be doing updates for both Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. So on Saturday, if you're on X and you see one of my tweets talking about either Worlds Collide or Money in the Bank, consider joining in on the conversation. Maybe it's for you at the end of the day. With all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Both are free and both help out the channel a lot. As always, stay tuned for more WWE content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.